Welcome back to another lesson in Vedic astrology. In this lesson, I am going to talk to you about on what is to be expected if Venus is in the 12th house bracket Bhava. It's not the Rasi chart. I am going to use always the Bhava chart for the predictions that I make. For example, you may have Venus in the 12th Rashi, but it would have moved into the first house, and you might be misled into thinking that you have Venus actually in the 12th house. There are so many books in the market that would let you read about what happens if Venus is in the 12th house. There are a lot of internet websites that can give you this information. But before that, you should actually consider understanding what exactly, how to read a horoscope without the help of a book or without having to memorize. So many rules are there. So what happens if Venus is in the first house, second house, third house, if the Sun is in the first house, second house, and so on. If you know what Venus signifies and what the 12th house signifies, you can actually maybe go beyond the books and come out with startling predictions or reading. That is also possible. So do not stick to whatever the book says. Just try to go beyond the books by using your common sense. This approach is needed because in ancient times the books were not in this form. It was basically from a guru to a disciple, a shishya, and so we don't actually get to know many things because it was not documented very well, or for that matter, the guru always expected that the student has understood a great deal. And so he probably thought that the student is wise enough so much that he will understand the rest of it. So suppose you buy a book and then read, for example, Venus in the 12th house. If Venus is in the 12th, the native will face extreme poverty. If you read a line like this, you are not even considering where Venus is. Venus might be debilitated or exalted, or Venus might be in its own house. Venus might be dignified in so many other ways, maybe in the 16 charts, including the divisional charts, everywhere. Most of the time he is well placed, so that will give him a lot of Vimshopaka strength and so on. So you have to really give weightage to that also. But then what does this mean? If Venus is in the 12th house, the native will face extreme poverty. Venus is an auspicious planet. It is about enjoyment, so this person might be not having the enjoyment because all the good things have gone away, because the 12th house is the house of loss are going away. There are many ways that this can happen. For example, amongst the poor people, we know that they get addicted to alcohol and waste away all their money in pleasure seeking, and maybe that may be one of the reasons for becoming poor. Even rich people have got very poor by having some sort of addiction. Like for example, wine, women, all of these things are all related to Venus. So that may be also one of the things that you may associate with Venus being in the 12th house. Venus represents the obsessions in life. You want to buy a dream car but end up getting into a debt. The bank might be after you for non-repayment. If you're not having a really dignified Venus, that could get you into trouble. So, though the first statement is point blank, does not consider where Venus is. Venus in the 12th, he says, Bhrigu says the native will face extreme poverty. If you start experimenting with this, you will find that it has happened to many people. If Venus is associated with a malefic, the native will be inclined towards sexual indulgences. Now, a malefic always brings out the negative side of the conjunction. So, always when a good planet like Venus is afflicted by a bad planet, it takes on the affliction, and the affliction can be excess of alcohol, excess of drugs, or excess of women, or excess of any form of obsession. And that could be what Sage Bhrigu is trying to tell us. If Venus, on the other hand, is associated with benefic, the native will be very wealthy. This is a very big point. Just see the difference. You may have so far read just plain Venus in the 12th and try to understand what it means. But now in this text you are being told that the benefic with a malefic, they are two different opposite views. So this is where the error in astrology can happen. Now, a sambandha or a relationship is possible if a planet is with or aspected by a planet, or aspected by a planet. So even that is also possible. So it is very important that you keep an eye on who is with a planet and who is aspecting the planet. That makes all the difference. And he not only says he'll be very wealthy if Venus is associated with benefic, he goes on to say we'll have all comforts of bed. Now this type of bed pleasure or the sexual pleasures is almost like he's licensed to have it. Looks like he's not going to get into trouble even if there are some indulgences. He will get away with it without getting into maybe a disease or getting into getting into financial troubles. So if this is just the opposite, where Venus is weak or afflicted in so many other ways, then the pleasures of the bed will be lost. And apart from that, he says we'll go to heaven after death. So now this is a very important point. The person is likely to do a lot of good things if Venus is exalted in the 12th house or Venus is positively placed and his next region is heaven. And if one has to go to heaven, he is likely to do a lot of charity. Maybe possibly charity towards women, or maybe he is a devotee of the goddess. On the other hand, if the same Venus is associated with a malefic planet like, let's say, Rahu or Saturn or the Sun, then he changes the whole thing and says that this person may go to hell or to a more negative region after this birth. Now, if you want to know really what happens if Venus is in the 12th house, you will have to understand the full role of Venus, what it signifies, do a thorough research of what Venus signifies, and do a thorough research of what the 12th house signifies. Depending upon the person whose horoscope is being read, you will have to sort of adjust it and tell it. And, so you will find that a lot of people who have Venus in the 12th exalted are very wealthy and flamboyant and always living with the whatever is associated with the rich and the high in the society. But if you look at the books, for example, Brihat Jataka, it says the person will be very rich. See the contradiction? If Venus is in the 12th, then it will face extreme poverty by Sage Brihat. But here you will have to go a little further and understand that he also says wealthy, provided some conditions are being met. Whereas in Brihat Jataka, you are not even told that you have to look into all these things. He straight away says the person concerned will be very rich. Now this is where you have to understand that in ancient times, the teacher always expected the students to know a great deal. And we do not know at what stage this information was given to a student. That maybe he is already well versed in this. It's like you are in college and then you don't have to be told so many things that you learned in school. So that's also possible. So you will have to really start from scratch in astrology and then move slowly further up. So you will be able to sift through all these kind of differences and contradictions. Father Deepika, the native will be rich and will have sexual enjoyments. And Saravali, the native will be very lazy but happy. He will have a plumpy body. He will be mean, clever in sexual matters and dominated by women. Chamatkar Chintamani, the native will be rich. He will destroy his fame and good qualities and will be inimical towards his friend and others. You get different type of results, but the most important factor is that you will have to bear in mind where this Venus is. So you will have 12 different ascendants and 12 different Venus. So let me do an example. So here you see Venus in the 12th house. This is an example. This is the ascendant, the first house. And if you count like this 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the 12th house. And Venus is in the 12th house. But actually this is a portion of a horoscope taken from a real case study. This person is a celebrity, quite famous in India. And you will see that Venus is in the 12th house. And you also see that Mercury is in the 12th, and Mercury is a benefic, and so there are two benefics in the 12th. So this person is going, next birth he is going to be in heavenly regions according to Sage Bhrigu. And exactly as it is, we can see proof of that. This person is very charitably disposed, is very generous in giving, and that's paving way for his entry into heaven. And you can see that Mercury is debilitated and Venus is exalted. So those who believe in debilitation, the cancellation of debilitation leading to a negative makes positive, can also say that this is a Nichabanga Raja Yoga, And even without using that concept, you can still say that this Venus is a big advantage for this kind of, for this person. But on the other hand, let's say if this was the ascendant, this is the first house, and this is the 12th house obviously, and then you had Venus here, totally different. This type of people always waste a lot of time and energy, and get obsessed with unwanted things connected to Venus. So you have to know what are the negative qualities, the negative things associated with Venus, and then read this quite differently from this one. So I hope you got the point which I was trying to tell you in this video. In case I have failed in that, please let me know. You can type them out in the comment section, and maybe I might do another video on the same topic, and maybe I can sort out your doubts during that time, or whenever I find the time I will reply to your questions. Thank you so much for watching this video, and in case you have Venus in the 12th along with good planets, I have given you one of the best information possible. Your next region is in heaven. Thank you so much for watching this video.